really good shape. Oh my God.
Pilotage and dead reckoning. Key terms: line of position, fix, pilotage, checkpoints, dead reckoning, navigation plotter, true course, ascendant line, magnetic course, true heading, compass heading, VFR cruising altitude, fuel reserve nav log, VFR flight plan. Tomorrow, we are going to compute a flight plan. We're going to make a nav log and plan for a flight using the tools you just learned. Okay? So that'll be fun. Now, here's what we do. Adjusting the zoom on a digital chart, which you see how quickly Jepson went to a digital chart? Yeah, it was like, okay, let's do this, and then, all right, let's be serious for a minute. Let's get out the iPad, and let's figure this out. It's okay, all right? It is okay, all right? So, I got instructions of sectional charts, that's fine. Adjusting the zoom, I can have flight planning app enable you to see the details of the landmark, zoom them in and zoom them back out. The route is aligned with Victor Airways. Everybody, let me tell you, you do not need to fly along Victor Airways. This was a teaching tool just so you could say, all right, if I wanted to fly from here to there and there was a mountain in the way, I could fly along Victor Airways because I'm going to San Francisco to Vegas. That's not San Francisco. That's somewhere near San Diego going over to Vegas. If there's no mountain in the way, fly straight to where you're trying to go. Okay? A route avoids a course directly over Colorado Springs, a restricted area. So if I don't have any kind of terrain features and I don't have any type of airspace that's causing me a problem, then fly direct. You want to fly directly there. All right. It'll be hard to confuse Franklin County. That's fine. Here goes into the waypoints. Choose waypoints that you can find. I encourage pilots not to choose an antenna. You might not see that antenna. And while you're looking for the antenna, you might crash, okay? You might forget to control the airplane and all of a sudden you're turning left and right. Try to find waypoints that are in your primary field of view, so somewhere 15 degrees either side, and along your route. It could be slightly less, or slightly left or slightly right, but choose waypoints that are very, very easy to identify. A city, for instance, with an airport right next to it. Kind of hard to miss that one. I got another city over here. Oh, it's got a restricted airport there. But then I got to consider which way do the roads flow into that airport? Where are the transmission lines that go? And do they have any distinctive shapes? Look at Red Cloud and look at Franklin. You will see a city that looks exactly like that. City, that's just a very small town. But you'll see a very, very small city that looks and has that exact shape. You'll see this city that has that exact shape. So find these things. This is called pilotage. Pilotage, where I look outside and I compare with what I see outside and what I see on my chart. That is pilotage. It's the primary means that you will fly during your student pilot training. Afterwards, pilotage is always something you'll come back to, even as, and especially as a pilot that's flying long range. Somebody that tells, here's the progression of pilots that I've seen. Remember I told you guys a little bit about the Dunning-Kruger curve? Are you guys familiar with the Dunning-Kruger curve? Isn't that a fun one? Oh, we'll look at it again. It's just how I think I'm much, much smarter than I actually am until I jump off Mount Stupid. And then I end up getting to a point where, oh yeah, I'm not that smart, but let me take my skills and eventually get a little smarter. All right, so this is the natural progression of pilots as I see them going through the U.S. certification process. They solo the airplane. They think, man, I'm pretty good at this thing. They earn a private pilot certificate. They think they're better, way better than they actually are. Then they get to a point where they're going to fly instruments and they forget to even look outside the airplane. Something misfires or backfires or malfunctions in their head. And they seem to think that these Airbuses and Boeings fly only by computers all the time and the pilots never look outside. Then they never look outside too and cause collision hazards for everybody else. Then you earn your commercial pilot certificate, and sure enough, you get a whole lot worse during this stage called time building, which is something I call pilots getting really, really bad habits because the only person next to them is the other pilot doing time building, okay? That's where they lose all of their skills, but their confidence level goes straight through the roof, okay? And then they get to a point where something messes up and probably causes them to second guess. This is called mountain stupid. That's where they jump off the thing and say, whoa, let me get back with some instructors for a while, okay? And then they begin to realize and start gaining the understanding that, yes, I will look outside this airplane. That stuff that I was learning in the very beginning, those were fundamentals. Those were basics. Those were things that I'm expected to know and remember and practice and get better at all the time. So looking outside the window and flying by pilotage, this is something that you will only get better at, all right? All right, so here you have Isabel and Nashville. I got Nashville, Isabel, just listed as dots. Okay, but they have similar triangles formed by railroads, different transmission line, different types of roads that are coming in and out of there, okay? Look for those small, subtle clues to let you know where you are. Lakes are another good thing. They could be easily confused in the air, and they have similar road patterns, but both have towers on opposite sides. Okay, towers could be tough to find. I told you, towers are tough to find. Any other type of landmark, just try to use everything that you can to find out where you are. All right, then it gives me an idea, an example. Here I've got a little bridge. Guess what? Pilotage. I see that out the window. I see that on the chart. Okay, pilotage. Then I got this guy right here. Here I got a little bit of a lake. That's fine. Looks like some sort of a bridge or some sort of a man-made feature. Pilotage. Look at how distinct it is, but also look at the level of detail that I'm seeing this with. Use your iPads, use your ForeFlight, be able to pinch out and zoom in. That'll help. You got a great advantage compared to previous decades of aviators. We're doing this just with a paper chart and a TAC, a terminal aerodrome chart, okay? Now, let's say I want to fly from one area to another, okay? I'm flying towards the first checkpoint with an inadequate wind correction. We made this, this initial kind of slice at the flight plan using forecasted winds aloft. You guys remember seeing yesterday the forecasted winds aloft chart? Those are forecasted in a couple of different areas. In South Florida, it's forecasted in Miami, and then there's one in Key West. It's separated by a little over 100 miles. There's another one in St. Petersburg. Again, about 200 miles separation. So along my route of flight, I might experience something that's a little different than my plan. We always start with a plan, but then you continue to refine and make that plan better, okay? Don't accept that, yeah, this is exactly what I planned for, and who cares if I'm off course? The course must be wrong. No, it's not wrong. You know, you're actually flying the thing. You got to make a little adjustment. All right, your position when passing the first checkpoint is off course. You know that. This is where I should be. Now I'm passing the course, and looks like I need to compensate a little more for the wind. This is the procedure that you'll use to compensate for the wind. If the wind correction merely stops further drift, so I've changed my wind correction just a little bit, I've applied more. The airplane's ground track will just parallel the course. I don't want to parallel the course. So instead, to return to the course, I have to use a little more wind correction. In this example, you double the wind correction to get back onto my course, and then you re-intercept here. This is a very easy concept to understand, but I really want to make sure everybody is okay with it. Because we started off with a wind correction angle. And my wind correction angle was not adequate, so I came a little far off course. Then I decided maybe another, it doesn't say how much, and I like that. I decided I wanted to make just a little more wind correction, something else that's going to help me get back on course. As I fly, I observe that now I'm just paralleling the course. So whatever value I put in here to start with, double it. That will cause me to get back over here. Who knows of this program called Flight Aware? Nobody? A little bit? Oh boy, are you guys in for it now. This is fun. This is a good part. Download the app Flight Aware. You put it on your web browser, whatever it is. You can observe the previous flights and even the current flights of airplanes. What's that?
Flight radar.
It's not Flight Radar. Or is there an app called Flight Radar or something? Oh, well, Flight Aware, I don't know about Flight Radar, but Flight Aware allows me to observe the tracks of other airplanes. It also allows me to observe the profile view, how this pilot was climbing and descending, and how they were controlling their airspeed. Here's the way I usually challenge pilots. I normally challenge pilots by telling them all in a big group to look at your friend's flight path while they're flying across country. If it was a zigzaggedy line, they did a terrible job at efficiency, okay? Make that something that you're proud of. We would do that, and it was always, you come back with a flight plan form. We wrote our flight plan form all in ink, things that we couldn't change. And then as we were flying, you would take a pencil and you would write down how much time it took you to go from there to there. You'd correct for all your wind. I'd use a whiz wheel and do that. And then you'd see if you could come back at the exact same time and not be off track. But now we got tools that'll show you the flight path. Use that. Use that tool. All right? Well, one big part of this whole thing is efficiency anyways. We want to do this very efficiently. Okay, there is another way to fly. There is another way to fly, and it's called dead reckoning. Some pilots have a hard time understanding this phrase, dead reckoning. Something about saying dead just makes them nervous, scared, panic, I don't know. Or they just shut their brain off when we say dead, I don't know. But dead reckoning has no reference to a navigation course. If I were flying VFR and I had nothing but a solid layer of clouds under me, what is that called? VFR over the top. If I were on an IFR flight plan, called VFR on top. Okay. So I have no reference to a navigation course. I'm just flying blind. I don't see anything underneath me. Okay? This is the process of estimating a position of an airplane or ship. It started off with ships. Maybe why it's called that. We'll see. Based solely on speed and direction of travel and time elapsed since the last known position, or what we call fixes, waypoints. Thought to be the result of a misunderstood common abbreviation in ship navigation. So the ship navigators would abbreviate deduced navigation as DED dot navigation, or dead reckoning from deduced reckoning. All right? Where did they get it from? Well, some pilots think it's that. Some pilots think there's not a great answer to how this came about to be called dead reckoning. But I like the idea of deduced reckoning. Okay, as applied to flying is the navigation of an airplane solely by means of computations based on airspeed, course, heading, wind direction, speed, ground speed, and elapsed time. So, everything we just did. Absolutely everything that we just did with the flight computer. This is your dead reckoning. How many people are planning to fly an airplane without a GPS or without an iPad? Well, you guys need to be pretty good at this, okay? All right. I do too, by the way. I should raise my hand, sorry. Yeah, I fly airplanes without looking at any of this stuff. Okay, that's fine. If I have the tools, if I have RNAV, if I have other things that'll help me maintain situational awareness as I go along, guess what? I can get to where I'm going, that's fine. But I never, ever, ever, I could probably call myself a pilot, I suppose, but you are no aviator, right? If you're going to be true and really want that bragging rights of being an aviator, well, you have to do this. But hey, I could be a pilot and just follow the magenta line, right? They train pilots how to do that in the United States all the time. Plug in computer, they put some magenta line, make magenta line go straight. Okay. All right, that's something about that means that you didn't pass all the rest of the classes, but they let people do it. Here we go. So if I want to pass all the rest of these classes, here we go. Take out a plotter. Use a plotter, plot your line, determine your course. Now, something I learned over the last couple of years was that the plotter that we use in the United States is used a little bit differently than it is here. Because pilots here will take their plotter and place it across, and tell me if I'm right or wrong. I've been told that this is the way it's done. They'll place their plotter exactly parallel to the line of longitude and then read the course on these lines. You won't do that in the US. The first time I figured out that they were trying to do that, I was like, what is going on here? Oh, I see, okay? What you'll do instead is you'll take your course and you'll put this along your course. And then you read it, you read your course against the line of longitude. I don't know what it is. There's quite a few things between the US and Russia that are just 100% backwards from each other. And I think it's fun. But this is one of those things. Take the course and put it right across that line here. My actual course, whatever line I drew. And then put that course against my line of longitude and I'll read. Now it reads either 100 or 280. What do I apply? Anybody? What do I apply here? The what? No? Okay. I said that we apply one thing with all of these calculations. And it is the sniff test. Okay? Correct. So the answer up here is absolutely 100 correct. 100% correct. Which answer? Both. Okay? Both are 100% correct. If I'm starting here and going there, it's 280. So which way am I trying to go? And then do the sniff test. If it smells like poop, then use the other one. Okay. All right. You okay? Not yet? Just getting the smell.
100 is the start of scale.
No. So it starts over here, 180 or 360.
Yeah.
And then comes back over here to 0 or...
If I'm from right to left.
Correct.
280.
That's correct. If I'm going from here to there, that's west. So that's 280.
Yeah. Okay.
If I'm going from there to there, then that's 100.
It should be 360 in total.
Well, it is. You're correct.
No, right.
Oh, no. Oh, wait. I understand what you're saying. So it's 180 degrees, not 360, but only 180 difference. So look, the difference between the two is 180. 280 minus 100 is 180.
Yeah.
So that's all. It's just the opposite direction. That's what happens when I get with pilots that know too much math. Because then they're like, wait a minute, it's supposed to be this. Oh, no.
We have these classes in SkyEagle Aviation Academy. Check out please our website www.atp.academy for details.
Are we okay? This next slide, it reinforces exactly what both these play together. So, say I have a course that is relatively north and south, and it never crosses a line of longitude. Why am I trying to cross the line of longitude? Well, because that goes to the true North Pole, and I want to make a reference to that. And these lines are not parallel. They're slightly angled because they converge. So I'm trying to get my true north, my reference true north. But I think you'll agree with me that the line of latitude and the line of longitude are pretty close to 90 degrees. Like as in very close to 90 degrees all across our area. Okay, and that's where the private pilot course is. So I could use this with a line of latitude, but I use the smaller scale. Okay? So I plot the course. Okay, here's the smaller scale right there. All right? So in this case, it's either 106 or 204. Which one is it? Yes. Both. But if I'm going from here to there, well, it's definitely not 204. So it's got to be 16. Okay. All right. Isogonic line. On the back of that computer, true index, correct? The winds, what are the winds aloft expressed in? Are those true or magnetic? True, because I got true index. Perfect. So whenever I am trying to find that wind correction angle, it's always true. True course, true winds, I get my true index. Do I have to have a true direction indicator in the airplane? Is that required equipment? No. What is required? Magnetic compass. So I got to use that isogonic line and I adjust. The memory aid is east is least, west is best. Follow me for a minute. If I have 8 degrees here, east is least means from true to magnetic, I subtract 8. So if my true course was 100 degrees, I would just subtract 8. So it would be 92, magnetic. That's the difference in this area. That's why it's an iso, same, gonic line of magnets, okay? Isogonic line. So, based on that magnetic course now, all right, I'm going to choose a cruising altitude. Let's just find out all this stuff. Here I got my true course. Then I have my wind correction angle that we put in. Then I applied the magnetic variation. Now I know what my magnetic heading is, my magnetic heading, but I got to find out how does that deviation card play into this. With the radios on in the airplane, how much does it change that magnetic compass? It changes it some slight degree, 1, maybe 2, maybe none. How much is it? It's unique to each airplane. It's on a card that looks like this, and it is in every single airplane. Okay? So then I apply that small little change, and I get what's called compass heading. All right? Let's go back for a minute. Everybody breathe in deep. Deep breath out, downward dog, yoga, all that stuff. I don't know, whatever. I don't do that crap. Obviously, I probably need to. But breathe for a moment, because how many scientists did it take to put spaceships in the air? Dozens and dozens. How long did they do this? Years, decades, all this whole long. So they got trajectories and low Earth orbit and who knows whatever else out there. Okay? And they still got it wrong. Still messed up. So we're going to put forth a little bit and come up with a swag. We're going to come up with a swag, right? You guys remember what the swag was? That's just a pretty close answer. Not an exact answer, but a pretty close answer. And then, based on that swag, we're going to execute the flight. So at one point in time, I got to fly this stupid machine. I might have spent a lot of time getting all these calculations ready and getting this on all the way down to just exact 1 degree. But you can't fly the airplane like this. I've seen pilots try it. Look out the windows. Don't forget pilotage. You know, I'm off just a little bit. Okay, that's fine. All right? Get back on course. Don't crash the airplane because you're off 1 degree. Okay? Now, there's a bigger picture or illustration of the compass deviation card. So talking through this thing just for a moment, what all kind of adjustments do I have? Well, I've got true course. I've got magnetic course. Pull that one to the side. Hold magnetic course to a real special place for a minute. Okay? I got true course. I use my true winds and I deduct my true heading. We done yet? Nope, because I don't know how to use that in the airplane. There's nothing for me. So I change with my magnetic variation, right? That's the isogonic line, the magnetic variation, and I get my magnetic heading. And then I change for this compass deviation, and now I got my compass heading, okay? So we haven't talked magnetic course yet. We definitely are gonna, okay? But this is your compass deviation card. What do I do while I'm flying the airplane? Fly the airplane, okay? Get it to where you want to go. Use this as somewhere to start, a little guide. Okay, magnetic course. That was the one so far that we haven't talked. It has a very, very special place. I promise everybody here that the first question I'm going to ask you, if we take a night flight together, because your night flight for the private pilot includes a cross country from Fort Lauderdale Executive to Stewart, the place that you won't find unless you use your pilot controlled lighting. I love this flight because it starts off with the very first question. And I'll walk in the door, hey, how are you? Great, how are you? What's our altitude? Duh. Oh, so you didn't plan at all. All right. There's special reasons why I use that one for sure. But it has to do with my planning altitude and my magnetic course. So get your true course, apply the magnetic variation, determine that magnetic course, and now I choose a cruising altitude, which is any altitude of over 3,000 feet AGL. And from 0 to 179 degrees, I use an odd altitude plus 500. So some odd thousands plus 500. 5,500, 7,500, 9,500. And if it's that, it allows for traffic, it allows for spacing. So from 180 to 359 magnetic course, I'm going to choose an even 1,000 plus 500. Now, like you say, this allows for pilots that are traveling in opposite directions to naturally have 1,000 feet in between us. Okay? It does not affect pilots that are maneuvering. So while I'm maneuvering and while I'm conducting my flight training, I don't abide by these rules. This is a cruising altitude. So if I'm not cruising, guess what? I got whatever altitude I want. I have to remain vigilant then to make sure I don't crash. All right. The reason why I like that one for Stewart is because if you don't apply your magnetic correction, you end up on the wrong side of the scale. It's just a great time for me. All right, here we go. This is a nav log. My goal is to have you guys go through a nav log tomorrow. I'm getting a little bit, I don't know about that, because the flight computer is a big part of it, okay? So it's okay, it's fine. We're going to be successful, believe me when I tell you. All right, here's how we probably will gain a bigger picture and a more convenient picture of how that flight should look. Flight. Okay? You'll put in your departure airport, put in your destination, establish the route, choose some altitude. It'll tell you what the distance is, the estimated time en route, the estimated time of arrival and local time, okay? And what that local time is, how much fuel you'll consume, what the forecasted wind is, and allow you to see all of your nav log right there on the screen. I typically plan for flights as I'm starting the engine. Okay? I got 2 engines to start. I'm starting number 2 and I'm putting it together. All right, good. ITT, it's on the rise. All right, good. Generator's back on there. Number 1, here it comes. Download with a little pack button that puts all my stuff in there. All right, number 1's going, air conditioner on, we're ready to go. The first flight that you plan, believe me when I tell you, if you do it right, you will have been able to drive to where you want to go and back before you're done. Okay? It would make you think, why in the love of creation would I ever do that again? But you've done it once. Me, I've done it hundreds of times because I came up when there were no iPads and computers and all this crap. Does that make me any better than anybody that's using this stuff? 100% no. I got some bragging rights though. You want to put some pencils together and get a little flight computer out. No batteries? Let's go. Right? All right, that's fine. So that's fun, but I don't need to know all that stuff. I really don't. Okay? And this way is much, much faster. What's important and why you go through this on your training program and the purpose of this is so that you know as this is created, how it's created. Because if you get into a situation where now things need to change, and maybe they need to change rapidly, you want to use that swag. You want to say, ooh, 120, 348, that's 170 minutes. It's about 3 hours. I'm doing this, 36 gallons. I got 36 gallons in the tank. Let's go. Everything else on the flight deck just took a giant poop in the bed, and I'm flying. Okay? That's how you use this knowledge that we really help you gather. Now, what's the chances of you being there? Not likely. Okay? You ever heard it's more of a U.S. thing I could imagine, because we got they say a big gun problem or whatever. But you ever hear the thing, I'd rather have a gun and not need it than need it and not have it? Okay. I'd rather have this knowledge and not need it than I would to be up there thinking, wow, this is the day. You know? Okay. All right. Now then, here we go. Flight plan. Guess what? Those are canceled. The U.S. domestic flight plan form is no longer in use as of September of last year, which is a tragedy because it was very, very easy. Now we use all ICAO. Not hard, but there's more information on it. Yes. Thank you guys. Thanks everybody, ICAO. Thanks. Yeah. Well, that's okay because now when I travel internationally, I already know how to do it. And there's a way to do it. Okay. Here, this just goes through real quick the natural sequence of events. Right? How do I start from one thing and go to the next? All right, if I haven't activated a flight plan, where are we at? Oh, here, number 1, file flight plan. So file your flight plan. Yes, I recommend you do it. Are you required to do it in the U.S.? No, you're not. Okay. If you open it, make sure you close it. There's certain things. Okay. Anyways, file your flight plan. If I haven't activated it within 2 hours, it's canceled. And that's okay. It just cancels and goes away. If I want to still use that before it cancels, I need to amend it and make it for a new time. Fine. Great. If I never open it, it never existed. It just never did. All right? Once I file it, that's fine. After takeoff, contact Flight Service Station, or I could use the Easy Activate service provided by Flight Service Station and email them and let them know, hey, I'm getting ready to take off. Click, boom. Okay, your flight plan's activated. Couple ways to do it. Make the position reports to ATC. This is your VFR flight following. If I crash along the way, it makes it easier for search and rescue to find me. What's the chances of me crashing? Hardly nothing, okay? Could happen, not likely. Okay, close the flight plan once you get there. Now, your flight plan, including aircraft identification, is transmitted to Flight Service Station the entire time. And if they don't hear from me, search and rescue starts. The first step in search and rescue is they go back to your flight plan form, they find your contact information right here, and pilot contact information, and they call you, okay? And they say, hey, are you alive? Yes. Oh, well, are you on the ground? Yes. Well, this is flight service station. Did you forget to call us? Oh, yes. Okay, shame on you. All right.